Laptop crashed while I was mid-video. That sucked. Anyway, just to kind of pick up my thought from the previous video, thinking of like what is a good high school physics student. It's not really said, but it's sort of like the thing that's hanging that you pick up that's not said explicitly. And if there's one thing I've learned in the past year, it's that culture is it reminds me of the story of these fish swimming through water. There's two fish, they're swimming along, and they see this older fish pass by them. The older fish goes, "Hey boys, how's the water?" And the two fish look at each other and they're like, they kind of giggle nervously and keep swimming along. And one of the fish turns to the other and he says, "What the hell is water?" Culture is like that. It's that invisible water that we swim through. And I basically, from this whole thing, I'm trying to make that visible, and I'm trying to interrogate it. Maybe my ideas aren't, perfect, but hopefully they're useful at least. All right, high school physics. Like, I think we kind of know what just a typical good student is when they come to mind. Like being able to do well on tests, and it comes easy for them. Maybe there's some element of that to there, and they're quick. I feel like that is what we think of, and I'm thinking like, if I don't mean to say that that's wrong, right? I just mean to say like, is that our all-encompassing definition? Is there nothing more than just that? And part of me sees like there has to be more than just that, because this isn't even what it takes to be a good professional physicist. So it's like somewhere along the way we recognize, we sort of transition to like there's other things that are important. And so I think we have to recognize like this is incomplete, and maybe you need to do this to do well, to go on to the next step. You're playing by the rules of the system, but also if you're not seeing where the system is incomplete, or where there's other parts of the story that are not being told, then you will never like be good at this, right? Like even if this was your goal, if all this is you care about, then you're not hitting the goal. So basically, I'm like, how can we think of what does it mean to expand the definition of being a good high school physics student or succeeding? Not even just in Mr. Sarker's class, but like to be a good high school physics student. What does that mean? I have my own thoughts, but basically, I think something that might inform us is a lot of this is informed by John Wooden. So he's a basketball coach, used to be, and I'm thinking just with basketball. If it's messy to be thinking of physics, maybe it's simpler to think of something simpler. So basketball, you might think like, hey, scoring wins, right? But if all you had on your team was scorers, that you won't win. So you need people that are like smart on the court. They have what we call like a high basketball IQ. Like a coach is definitely a good source of basketball IQ, and a coach will try to be imparting that IQ to their players and developing that. So that they can make decisions real time. You'll need a passer, someone that facilitates, someone that makes their teammates better. Maybe you want someone that's like a really good individual scorer, and that'll help their other teammates like relieve pressure from them. You'll also want like defense on the team, because defense wins championships, all that. And there's just element of hustle. So this is just off the top of my head. Like there's multiple ways to be successful at basketball, or to be good at basketball. And maybe one player doesn't want to have all of these. Maybe one player will want to specialize. So I don't mean to say that your definition needs to include all of this, but is your definition of success acknowledging that there's other ways to be successful? And ultimately, I'm dancing at this question of like, is your definition of success useful? And what do I mean by useful? Like useful for what? So getting back to Wooden, like if your goal is just to win basketball games, if that is your definition of success, focusing only on winning isn't necessarily the best way to win. Sometimes that might create pressure on yourself or your teammates to constantly win, and that would get in your head and get in the way. So focusing on just preparing as much as possible might be more useful to that goal of winning than focusing only on winning. So thinking of, is your definition even helping you on your own ends is sort of what I'm getting at. And yeah. So is your definition of success, is the definition of success of a good high school physics student, does that help us? Now, let me return. I think a lot of I think you guys, maybe your definition of success is getting in the way of my teaching, or is getting in my head. Because if your definition is unrealistic, if your definition of success is must pass every AP exam or exam that Starker gives, or be able to do every single problem with ease, like that's unrealistic to my mind. That's not useful, and it'll get in the way of your growth. And that's my goal. I want a definition of success that helps you grow, and I think focusing on growth is a good goal, because you can always focus on doing that better and pushing yourself, and it's relative to yourself. So ultimately, my question to you all is your definition of success. I can't change that, but I do want to maybe shift it, help you alter it, help you question it. Is it serving you? And I know certain definitions of success that are just extremely limited. Basically, like, if my definition of success is, am I a fish? Like, there's no way that I could succeed at that. If I refined it as, like, can I act like a fish? Sure, maybe I have a chance. That's a little bit more useful. But it's almost nonsensical to say success is only this, because just by definition, almost not everyone's like this. And you also need other things. So that's my thinking, and maybe it's my role to expand the definition, but I think you guys also have control over that. None of this is that I want you to go into physics necessarily, but I do want you to feel like you've succeeded in this class. So what definition will help you do that? Thanks for listening.